Hey, good evening, rail fans. It's Friday, August 18th. Where am I? I am deep in Horicon. What am I doing here? Well, I think you can already see what I'm doing here. It's Christmas for Wisconsin Southern fans. So a little background story on what I'm doing here. For those of you who've been following my videos, those of you that are Wisconsin Southern fans, you know that a couple years ago, the Wisconsin Southern, or WAMX or WATCO, or however you want to say it, they purchased a fleet of ex-Union Pacific SD60Ms. SD60M meaning that it was a locomotive with a wide cab, which is pretty unusual for anything that was on the Wisconsin Southern roster. Because these locomotives were pretty big, they spent most of their time running trips over main lines like the Wisconsin Southern T4 job, which is actually over the CN through Rugby Junction. And so those are pretty exciting locomotives to railfan for a while. But after a while, seeing these rusty yellow XUP units kind of got boring from a railfan perspective. And so people like me started wondering, are they ever going to paint these things? And if they paint them, what are they going to look like? Well, today is that day. The locomotive you're seeing right behind me, like right there, this is the first painted SD60. This is WAMX 6022, I believe. And when I say this is a fresh paint locomotive, like I think it just rolled out of the paint booth today. And what I think is particularly exciting, aside from the fact that one of the SD60s has finally been painted, is Horicon is the site of a paint booth. There is a paint booth. I'm not sure if it's that building or maybe behind one of these buildings. About a decade ago, Wisconsin Southern used to paint locomotives from all sorts of railroads, and it was a pretty cool time to be a rail fan on Wisconsin Southern. And for the past decade or so, ever since WATCO had purchased Wisconsin Southern, they pretty much stopped doing the painting. And so it's my understanding that this locomotive was painted not only by WATCO employees, it was painted right here in Horicon. So that's all pretty cool. And I'm kind of looking forward to seeing this thing run on the T4. For all I know, it might be running tomorrow. It didn't take them very long to get this thing painted. I'm just super excited. I wish I could get a little closer, but I'm probably already not supposed to be standing where I am right now, maybe. So anyway, this is a first look at the new Wisconsin Southern SD60M paint scheme. And judging by the looks of it, maybe this is a whole new paint scheme for Wisconsin Southern. Who knows? It's very exciting to me. Anyway, enjoy this video. I'll try to get some zoom shots with my bigger camera here in a second. But obviously the train's just sitting there stationary, perhaps because the paint is so fresh, it's just airing out. So this isn't going to be the most exciting video I've ever shot, but there certainly will be some T4 videos in the future, and hopefully this guy's leading. You hear that, train crew? Leading. Don't paint a locomotive and then bury it in the consist somewhere. So I'm sure they won't do that. Anyway, good job, WATCO. Good job, WAMX, Wisconsin Southern. Whoever you are, whoever painted this thing, pretty cool. See ya. Would you look at that? Fresh paint. WMAX 22. So I am in Horicon right now, kind of in the back of the yard off of Clinton Street. And I guess to give you a little perspective on where I'm at, back off a little bit. Now I think the paint booth building is this one off to the left. Kind of a long skinny building that technically hadn't been used for years. So I think that's it. And if we go over here to the left, there's some green towers behind me. And if I pan over to the right, most of you are probably familiar with the depot, which is, it's behind this big building. I can't see it from here. So I am currently facing east. And panning over here, there was some other locomotives sitting there. Let's see, we've got 4175. And 3868. There were 2 other Jeeps in the yard doing some work. Might go catch them. We'll see, but really the star of the show here is this freshly painted SD60M. Drove all the way out here to Horicon just because I figure decades from now when this locomotive's all dirty and nobody cares anymore, I can say, hey, I saw it when it came fresh out of the paint booth. So I'll take my little telephoto lens here and get some close-ups. Little WATCO logo there. Would have thought they would have put a website address on there, kind of like the CN does, but that's alright. Definitely different. I guess the time will tell if Wisconsin Southern kind of changes up their whole paint scheme, or if this is just for the SD60s, or this is just a one-off, kind of like some other locomotives are. But it looks good. Nice and clean. Look forward to seeing this leading the T4. Actually, I look forward to seeing more painted locomotives coming out of this paint shop. That would be also pretty cool. Benefit of that is that Wisconsin Southern would suddenly start pulling in locomotives from all over the country to have them repainted, which makes rail fanning really exciting, but I guess I'm not going to jump to that conclusion. Nonetheless, the Wisconsin Southern GP59Rs that they recently purchased from Norfolk Southern, those are all painted, I believe, in St. Louis, Illinois. And so maybe WATCO said, hey, we've got a paint shop, why can't we just do it ourselves? And so I agree, why not? Do it yourself. That is pretty cool. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I feel like a news reporter here. This train, nobody else has seen this train except for, well, Facebook fans. So enjoy the sketch of the repainted WAMX 622.